Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of Only as Lonely, the podcast where I share my story of taking redundancy, going travelling to see some sights, take some photos, play some music, and all the funny little interactions in between. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Remember, this audio is only part of the experience because photos or video clips they're difficult to share, aren't they, through your ears? It's not really what they're designed for, is it? So please make sure you're checking out the onlyaslonely.wordpress.com to see clips, photos, hear some of the music I share in these episodes. It's also on YouTube as well, if you want to follow it on there. So in the last episode, I crossed the Cook Strait onto the South Island and down the east coast to Kaikoura. I'm in a holiday park, and today I'm going to be exploring Kaikoura some more and experience a close encounter with some sperm whales. That's the kind of mood I'm in today. Sorry. Very low bar of comedy today. Sorry. So join me. Bring some wet wipes and let's go. September the 22nd, 2009. When I woke up, I was surprised to see the sun out. The rain had been lashing down on the roof of the bus during the night, and I had to resort to my trusty earplugs to remove the distraction. I pottered around for a bit, got myself ready, and then headed to the nearby Whale Watch Centre, a short walk from the holiday park and down at the seafront. I arrived at 9 a.m. I was expecting there to be crowds of people, but it was just me, and I was told to come back at 10 o'clock. They'd have to check the weather conditions before taking people out in a boat. I mean, it looked okay to me, but what do I know? The nearest body of water to where I lived was the Titford Canal, which boasted a wide range of shopping trolleys, floating condom wrappers, and three-headed fish that glow in the dark. It may not be possible for a canal to be as rough as the sea, but I can guarantee you the sea will never be as rough as the Titford Canal, if you know what I mean. I paid to secure a place on the Whale Watch tour, but if it was cancelled, it'd be okay because I could get a refund. So I sat on the wall outside behind the booking office, on the seafront, overlooking the dark pebbled beach, and listened to the verve, taking in the sun and enjoying the view. To my left, I could see mountains reaching out into the sea. The sea was an incredible turquoise colour, the air was fresh, and the sun was bright, without a cloud in the sky to get in the way of it. It was there that I actually managed to take a selfie with my camera and caught a picture that I actually quite like of myself. Probably because you can't really tell it's me. I've got my big hat on, sunglasses. I could be mistaken for someone trying to remain in disguise, like I belonged in witness protection or something. I was happy being there, with what felt like having the beach and the ocean to myself, and there's something refreshing and enlivening about getting up in the morning and out into the fresh sea air.
It's just me.
At 10, I went back into the centre where a few more were waiting, and we had to watch a short film about Kaikoura and the whales, and then a short coach journey to the other side of the peninsula where the boat was waiting for us. Inside, there were rows of 3 seats either side of a centre walkway. There was a guy talking about sperm whales, giving various facts with the aid of a TV screen behind him. We were going to catch the whales, hopefully, when they come up for air, before they go down into a deep dive. It was informative, even though his mic kept cutting off. It is quite jarring, isn't it, listening to someone telling information when it keeps cutting out. You've just got to try to put the pieces together to make sense of it. I sat near the window as we left the shore behind us. I remember them talking about motion sickness, making quite a big deal of it, saying what you should do and where you should sit or stand if you start to feel ill. I was looking out the window as we bobbed along thinking, I don't suffer from motion sickness, do I? What if I do? Oh, how embarrassing would that be? We're going along now. Would I feel it by now? Would I be ill by now if I had motion sickness? How do I get these people next to me out of the way if I have to run to be sick? What if I'm sick on these people? Oh my God. Am I at risk of making myself ill, like in a psychosomatic way, because I'm just thinking so much about it? Nah, I was fine. I was feeling a bit sleepy though with all the bobbing about. We stopped and everyone scurried out onto the deck at the rear of the boat. One of the staff stuck something over the edge into the water, which from what I could tell was a listening device of some sort, so we could try to get an idea of where the whales were. Disappointed, we scurried back into the boat and headed in the direction they thought there'd be a whale. I then stopped and then once again everyone excitedly scurried to the rear deck. After a while of looking for a sign, someone spotted spray coming from the blowhole of a whale, and so we went to have a look. I was fortunate enough to get a decent spot with my camera ready and check out this amazing spectacle. I say amazing spectacle, don't get me wrong, it's a whale. I mean, that is pretty amazing. However, it's just like, you know, it was just on the surface, like getting some air. It kind of resembled a log. I mean, it's not like something you'd expect, like, you know, in the cartoons or in Moby Dick with almost the whole whale above the water. It doesn't sit on top of the water. It's mostly immersed. You're not going to make eye contact with the mysterious beast, you know. It just looked like a log, just floating there. I mean, yeah, it was special, but not exactly, oh my God, that's amazing, you know, sort of thing. I mean, that was until it went into its dive, you know, the tail lifting smoothly, gently, high into the air, accompanied by 1,000 camera shutters snapping away. You know, I mean, that was a more impressive sight. A shame that it wasn't observed by many, myself included. You know, we didn't observe it in real life. We observed it looking through a lens or on a digital screen when taking a photo. May as well have just YouTubed it to see it on a screen. Sad really, isn't it? How much of life is not experienced fully, but instead observed through a screen? Trying to capture something rather than really living in the experience. And that was back in 2009. It's got much worse since then. It's understandable to a degree. Of course, you know, you want to capture the moment, and that's what a photographer does. But do you really experience something fully by doing that sometimes? A moment captured on a digital sensor and stored as a JPEG, the moment is then gone forever. But it's only captured by observing it through some mechanical or digital means, without truly living in the moment. And then looking back at that JPEG won't recreate the wonder of seeing a spectacle with your own eyes. The screen or the lens is like a barrier between whatever's happening and your eyes. And it means you can often look at something in an objective way rather than really feeling it. Landscapes are different. I mean, you're in a place, it surrounds you, you're there. You take an image, you step back, and then you experience it. But fleeting moments are different. How many people enjoy a concert fully these days without faffing around on their mobile phone trying to video it? For what? Who's going to want to sit there and watch a gig on a little screen?
Oh, mate, it was so bad. You know, such a shame you missed the gig.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such good vibes.
Ah, never mind.
Amazing vibes. Yeah, I've got it on my phone.
Have you?
Yeah. Check this out.
Right.
Oh, look at Baz.
Yeah, Baz.
Look at Baz, yeah. Oh, God, he was off his head.
He looks it. Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Brilliant. So,
there's Doug.
Yeah, Doug, yeah.
There's Doug, look, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'm surprised they let him in. I mean, he was paralytic.
Yeah,
He's being held up by other people in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to kick off any minute now.
Right.
Any minute now.
Yeah. It's a bit shaky, isn't it? It's giving me a bit of motion sickness watching that.
No, just keep watching it. Keep watching. I got most of the gig. Yeah, I got most of the set.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really mine.
Oh, just wait till the bass kicks in.
Right.
Wait till the bass kicks in. It's going to be mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, listen.
Okay, right. No, it's going to... Any second now.
Yeah.
Any second now. Wait for it to kick off.
Right.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at it. Yeah. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. No, it looks...
Do you hear that bass?
Not really, no.
Well, no, you won't, will you? Because it's on a phone. So,
Right.
I guess you just have to be there.
Yeah.
But,
Shall we head off? We've got to get to that thing before it shuts.
No. Just watch the end of this set. I got until my battery died. I got most of the set there. Nightmare really, because I couldn't find a taxi. Baz lost his phone. Couldn't find Doug. Luckily, we bumped into Hairy Steve. Jumped in a taxi with him.
Right. Too concerned with what others think rather than enjoying an authentic experience. I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox now. I'm getting old, aren't I? I turned around to see a Chinese fella crouched down with his girlfriend as she was consoling him, his head in his hands, and they were chatting away whilst not following any of the guidance given on the boat earlier about motion sickness. They probably didn't understand it. I couldn't speak any Chinese, but it didn't take a mastermind to work out what he was saying. Fuck me, I feel sick. Get me off this fucking boat. Ugh. He was a lovely shade of green. It was great being out on a boat, bobbing about gently, and even when we got into a bit rougher water, I enjoyed it, in the sunshine and fresh air, looking back at the island behind us and admiring the high snow-capped peaks. I took some shots of the gulls that were flying around us. Perhaps they wrongly assumed we were a fishing boat, or maybe they were like the gulls back home, who wouldn't think twice about snatching your chips off you. But no one had any chips here today. Greasy chips might have been a bit too much for the poor fella feeling ill. We saw another whale after a while, and it was pretty much the same. A log, until it dived. I thought the whales would be bigger. Maybe they were. Maybe they were further away than I realised. Struggling with perspective, perhaps. I don't know. Then we headed back to Kaikoura. Back in town, I grabbed a sandwich and a few bits and ate lunch on the beach. I had a wander around the shops and galleries in town. I was in one gallery that sold a lot of photography. They only sold artwork from local artists. I got chatting to the woman behind the desk who was messing about with Photoshop. I offered some assistance. Did my bit. Good Samaritan that I am. We got chatting about the photography on sale, which, I'll be honest, I found it quite expensive. The reason being that the printing costs are so expensive and it's all got to be produced locally to be sold in that shop. I mean, that's a great concept in theory, but as a result, the photography on sale was expensive for what it was, and as such, it didn't really sell much. Well, I thought, that pisses right on my bonfire. My dreams of moving to Kaikoura and setting up a photography gallery had gone up in flames. I guess I'll just have to be spotted while over here and get some sort of recording contract now. Hey, it could happen, couldn't it? I bought a great book called Global Gypsy, a photography book. The collection created by a photographer called Gerard Toye, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who spent 20 years just travelling the globe. The book contained amazing black and white photography alongside lovely quotes. Quotes such as, "A smile can neither be bought nor sold. Yet, it is the richest gift one can give or receive." Another one, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness." And one more, "Does the chicken need a reason?" Yeah, I don't know what that one's about. That's my best Morgan Freeman. Some of the shots would be places that I'd be visiting during this very trip, and one shot was from Central Park. At the very steps where I'd captured a man in a bowler hat, they were in the background of this black and white image. It inspired me to keep doing what I was doing. I needed to consider what else I could do while I was in town. I headed up to the info centre and booked a kayaking trip for the following morning. I then carried on up the road to encounter Kaikoura and booked a swim with dolphins. I thought I ought to make the most of my time here. You can't put a price on these experiences that will stay with me forever. I popped into a Quicksilver shop as I got back into town and bought a nice short-sleeved red check shirt and a belt. I had a good chat and banter with the lady who owned the shop. It's always good to have a banter with people. After visiting the internet cafe, I headed back to the bus. On the way, I passed some sort of garage building. It had various graffiti strewn across the walls, although it was quite tame compared to what you see back home under the bridges of the Titford Canal. The graffiti here included things written such as Kaikoura All-Stars or so-and-so was here. Back home, the graffiti down the Titford Canal had a bit of a different flavour to it, giving you the news that Tracy is a slag, depicting a few diagrams of cock and balls. As the inside looked dark, cold and urban, at the back, as you looked through, there was countryside, brightly illuminated by the sunshine, trees and rolling hills. It looked heavenly. It seemed quite metaphorical in some way. Through the darkness, through the decay, there's a place that's natural, warm, welcoming, and in the sun. I took a picture. Back at the holiday park, I took the opportunity for a nice hot shower and decided to book an extra night stay so that I could make the dolphin swim. It'll be nice to get a bit more of a feel for the place, as my first visit a few years back was only a passing drive-through. I also did my laundry and managed to get some shots of the moody clouds creeping inland, obscuring the sun apart from a few beams of golden light breaking through. It's difficult to expose for. And what I mean by that is how long you need to expose the sensor on the camera to light. I'm not talking about wearing a flash Mac. The longer you expose the camera sensor to light, meaning the slower the shutter speed, the brighter the image becomes. So if you have a dark image, you need to have the shutter open for longer. If you have a bright image, you need to have a very fast shutter speed. This was difficult because there was both dark and light in the same shot. You want the exposure to capture the beams of light, which makes everything else a bit dark. To capture the detail and everything else would overexpose the light and you wouldn't see any of the details of the light. The other option is to expose for both the light and the rest of the image in two shots. But I hadn't set up the tripod, and with the clouds moving, it'd be difficult to take a shot, make the adjustments, and then take another shot without there being some sort of slight cloud movement. And then there's all the faffing about in Photoshop afterwards. I mean, that was something I just couldn't be asked to do. Never mind. I headed to the communal kitchen to cook myself some dinner. It was pasta for me tonight, but unlike the pasta I had last night, I wouldn't need to go fishing for it. The kitchen was a large area with multiple stoves and all the kit you need. It reminded me of where you'd have cookery class at school. Everyone has an oven and a sink, along with their own utensils. The only thing missing was Miss Strong, the home economics teacher from school, with her big frizzy ginger hair and an air of existential crisis. I remember we had to work in teams of 3 to create a meal once. We'd make a starter, a main and dessert. I offered to make the dessert and promised it would be an incredible taste sensation and an unusual dessert, as it would not be just any dessert, but it would also be a drink. Miss Strong and my teammates didn't look all that impressed when I'd just whisked up some quick save vanilla ice cream into a half-melted slop. Tried to palm it off as being virtually exactly the same as a McDonald's milkshake. They thought it was lazy, clearly, but you try turning hard ice cream into lumpy slop with a whisk and a spoon. I'll tell you, you get a right sweat on.
One of the best desserts I've ever tasted.
But back to the kitchen at the holiday park. I wasn't alone. I got chatting to the couple who were in the camper van next to me, Steve and Julie. He was a fellow Brit. I think she was German. Lovely couple. They were adding raisins to their curry dish, which I thought that was an interesting choice. Not something I'd come across before. Something I could be tempted to try myself in the near future.
Fuck off, fucking donkey!
Their camper van was tiny compared to mine, and it was funny to see how they were getting on, just getting by with it compared to the massive bus that I was driving around. It felt like I was overcompensating for something I was lacking. Steve and Julie were both keen photographers, so naturally we hit it off and talked about that as well as our plans for our trips. They'd already done so much travelling and were far from completing their trip. I imagine that's where they got the inspiration for the raisins, somewhere along the way. They were really living the dream, and it must be nice to do it as a couple. Well, as long as you don't fall out along the way. They told me they could recommend somewhere to stay in Beijing. I love a good recommend. After eating, I hit the sack. The sea air had really made me tired. Right. That's that.
Do you like that?
Yeah, so, a full day in Kaikoura. Out on the ocean. Lovely. I mean, I'd rather be out on the ocean rather than in the ocean, to be honest. I know I'd booked the dolphin swim, but I was only half looking forward to it. I'm not a strong swimmer, and I don't like the cold water. I'm no Wim Hof. So today I had a bit of nature with the whales and a bit of retail therapy. Good for the soul. Always good for the soul. Kaikoura is a nice place. It was quieter time of the season, so I imagine you can get very, very busy in the height of summer. I'll be honest, I've not really got much else to talk about or share with you about this day, to be honest. I want to keep this as authentic as I can. I'm still finding my way with this. 12 episodes in, I'm still trying to find my groove with it. There might be days where there's not much to reflect on, so forgive me if there's not much to report at the end. But if you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch either via the WordPress site, or you can leave a comment on YouTube, or you can email me onlyaslonely@gmail.com. As always, remember to check out onlyaslonely.wordpress.com so that you can see some of the things that I saw and you don't miss out. Please like and subscribe, and please share this with someone. Look, if everyone who listens to this introduces one person to it, that's an immediate doubling of listeners. And look, if we keep going with this, who knows? We could end up with double figures before long. So that'd be good, wouldn't it? Thank you for your company today. I look forward to sharing tomorrow with you. When I say that, I mean the next day in the story. I'm not just going to turn up at your house the day after you listen to this. Shit, that'd be worse than The Ring, wouldn't it? People say that if you listen to the podcast, the next day a bold man from the Black Country arrives at your home to spend the day with you. People listen to the podcast and the phone rings. They answer it.
Hello?
I'll see you tomorrow, Bab. Ta-ra a bit. Yeah, anyway, I'll shut up now. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra a bit.
Does the chicken need a reason?
Fucking donkey!